what turned up. Yay. I bought a Tonverk. I got rid of all my Electron stuff. I got rid of the Digitac 2 and the Digitone 2 and a Syntact and an Octatract, and then the pool of granularness in this thing was too much. And you've seen all of my previous videos maybe, and I've been, you know, really focused on Ableton Move and in this very setup, and you can see that the Pulsar's still here, and sampling the Pulsar into the Move, and I had to see. I'm very sorry, I had to see, and it's a lot of fun. What this is all about is, one of the first things that I try and do with a new piece of gear is make a rumble. Like, how does that work? How do I take a kick and then create that kind of low extra rhythm, pulsing, almost bassline type thing? And it's been interesting. It's been interesting exploring this, because some of the things that I would have done on other Electron gear, or done with other gear, or done in live or in other methods, don't actually work. But I've come up with a way that is really fun, and that's using the buses, or using a bus. And that's what's really unique about the Tonverk, is having this, and then the sends, and then the mix. So the 8 tracks, the 4 buses, the 3 sends, and the mix. And that's opening up a bit of fun to play with. So let's just kind of go and get into it and make a rumble. Where I've started here is, I've started with a new project. The only thing that I've done is I've gone in and set up the MIDI config so I can send MIDI out to the Pulsar, because over the course of this video, maybe, depending on how long it takes to make the rumble, how long I can keep your attention for, is then going through the process of routing the Pulsar through a channel here, so that's happening live, and then also sampling some of the Pulsar into this, into some of the other tracks, and we'll kind of go through that process. And what you're going to see is something that I've done. So this is project number 4 that I'm on, and I've kind of done 3 projects working through. So I've spent a bit of time, not a lot of time, but a bit of time on this, being able to work it out, because it is different. It is different to the other machines. I mean, it's got the same sequencer and, you know, trig parameters and parameter locking and that sort of stuff. And I must say I've missed some of that in working with the Move. I've kind of, I hate to admit it, but I've kind of missed the Electron sequencer. It's really fun, it's really cool, and I've been having a lot of time just working within like the 16-step bars and putting a whole heap of kind of probability on steps and making much longer morphing, changing things. And if all goes to plan, you would have heard that at the start of this video, or you can jump through to the end and see. Okay, so let's just get out and get going. So the first thing I'm going to do is just go and find a sample. I'm going to go back to the Ryman collection, because they're great, and I'm going to find a kick. So function, yes, you can so I want something that's got a little bit of kind of overtones, but still got a nice this is boring, let's just go back because that'll work just fine, that one. Yes, so yes, and no, to get back out, and here's the kick. So overview process. Tempo's 79. I'm gonna add a little bit of swing to it. This will work at higher BPMs, and if it gets there, but if you've watched any of my stuff, you know where I'm at. I'm low and slow and dark and noisy. So let's start at a midpoint rather than doing something at like 56 to begin with. Okay, good. Let's just 4 on the floor it. And yay. There's some really amazing kind of options in here. And I'm going to come back to the kick in terms of the effects and putting some effects on the kick. But I really just wanted to start with it kind of bare bones to begin with, and then I'll come back and add some effects. So I'm going to go track copy, I'm going to go to track 2, and I'm going to go track paste. And so now on this I've got exactly the same. I'll put in my 4 trigs, and this is what I'm kind of liking about this. And one thing that I would like to know, I should read the manual, is there a way to allow one track to sequence another track? Because that would be fun, but it's also lots of fun being able to put this into different steps to create kind of off rhythms. So it's a rumble, it's based off the same kick, but it's different. So what I'm going to do first is I'm actually going to mute track 1. I'm going to just leave that for a second, and then I'm going to build the rumble on track 2. So if we've got this going, let's just do some stuff to it. So filter, let's get low pass filter in there. Let's get some effects. So I want to, and this is what's really nice about here, is all of these amazing kind of effects that are in here. I feel like I want to, let's dirt shape this thing. So this is kind of what's nice, is we can play with this stuff and chaining it through, you know, from having this filter and then also having this filter. And that's the other thing I want to do, is just drop off some low frequencies off here. So then we've got this going on, because again, we want our original kick to be doing the low end, but letting the rumble have a bit of its own space. So we've got this happening. We can do this as well just by dropping a little bit of high pass, and then we could low pass filter this a little bit more. And then let's go into daisy delay. Yeah, this is really nice because we've got another drive stage to be able to play with. We haven't even driven it from the amp here, and I'm pretty sure some of this is where we're at. Probably just drop the feedback down a little bit. We'll leave it at dotted 1/8, and we can kind of mix it pretty much the whole thing. Let's have a listen. And then let's bring back our original kick. And so we can just start to sculpt that some more. Oh, see, this is where I've already stuffed up. Okay, so let's just go back. Sorry, everybody, I changed this and did it wrong. Back to Dirt Shaper. Drive. This is nice though. If you make a mistake, like I just loaded Daisy Delay over the top of Dirt Shaper, which was just stupid of me, it's remembered where I was at and what I was doing, and I just wanted to reduce that. And so now when I go back into effects, now I can go back into load effect 2, yes, thank you, insert effect 2, and now let's add Daisy Delay, yes, and then drop the feedback down. a bit more drive, leave it wet. Cool, so you can hear now the imbalance between the two, and so that's why I've got to go back and have a fiddle with this one a bit more, but I've got a little bit more gain staging to do on track 2, so let's just keep playing and fiddling with that a bit. So you can kind of see where I'm going, because on this track, and again, it's like, oh, there's only 2 LFOs, but no, wait, there's voice LFOs, and then there's effects LFOs. So let's just go in and choose rectify, and random, and maybe slow it a little bit, and then, and I want to drop the speed of it down. So we should just get a little bit where it'll come in and let's mute that for a second. So this is what's fun, is instead of the rumble just being kind of repetitive, and yes, so I could do the process of layering all of the different effects on my original kick and then resample that in, but there's a little glitch here which is different to the Digitac 2 in sampling, in terms of being able to hold down function and be able to snap to like the middle of the sample. So even like you can go into here and set this up, and you can choose your length, and we could kind of set it to 2 bars and all of those things. It's really hard to be able to get the correct start point on the sample, because the snapping, the functionality when you edit the sample isn't implemented on this, as far as I can work out. And so that's why I've come around to this process of making the rumble, of just sacrificing, oh my God, sacrificing a whole channel just for the rumble. But then that opens up some other fun as well, in terms of, you know, performance later, where you can mute the kick and just leave the rumble doing its little thing, or yeah, or vice versa. And also that idea of, you know, sequencing it off time, off the kick. So yes, that could be one process, and I did give that a crack, but I'm finding this more fun. Okay, let's... Now, the other thing was, obviously, like with the rumble, you need to be able to sidechain it somehow and duck the original kick. And we're going to do that via the first bus, via bus 1. So we come down here to FX and we change this, and this is going to come into bus 1. So we're now coming into here. And there can be some kind of more fun that you can do in here if you want. And so let's just jump over to this bus, and we're going to go into load an effect, and I'm going to use the compressor. Now, again, this is another choice, because you can go into a bus and choose the source, sorry, I'm on the wrong bus, and choose the source as the shaper. And the shaper gives you options with the amp on being able to, you know, set trigs as to where you want either the ducking or the envelope to kick in, and you've got your positive and minus. So you can do that. You can totally do that if you want. But because I'm kind of going to be setting this up as my sidechain track, so if I'm going to have some kind of drones or other low frequency stuff coming here on any of these other tracks, having this here, I can just send this through. And the other thing that I like about having the effect, putting the compressor on, is the wet dry mix. Being able to kind of get that exactly the right kind of feel. So the source, just choose your track. So I'm going to choose track 1 as my source. Here's my threshold ratio. We can, do our wet dry to be able to kind of get it right. So let's go and unmute that. Let's press play. And just being able to kind of come back and, tweaking this. So let's just put another LFO on that. A low pass filter. Yes. Just want to come back and just tweak this other track a little bit. So let's just drop some of the high frequencies out and a little bit of drive. And let's change the envelope to that one. Cool. It's really quite flexible and fun. And so having this set up to be able to just sort of tweak the compressor as needed, because as some kind of tonal stuff comes through and I send it through to this bus, I don't want it to kind of be too obvious, be a little bit more subtle, but at the moment it just seems to be working really fun. And then having all of these. Yeah, no. Oh, I could send a bit of that to the reverb. I haven't set the reverb up, but let's not stuff around. We'll just do some other bits now. Cool. So there's one technique to make a techno rumble. Well, let's just see what this looks like. Let's try something silly. would probably cool, there you go, proof of concept at a higher rate. Back to 75. Okay, so the next bit was just setting up the Pulsar coming in to channel 8, and what's really cool here is if I go function and choose this as MIDI and then function and press the encoder to turn that onto channel 8, I can simply just hold down learn on the Pulsar. And the other bit was, because in here you've still got your effects coming in. So if I come into my input, so I choose channel 16 for mix, and then I go to my source, I've got in A, so I've just got a mono input coming out and coming in, and now I can choose to route this into track 8. And so now I've got access to the 2 effects plus all the sends for that. And even though I've got some reverb, some of the Pulsar reverb and some of the drive happening for the bass channel on the Pulsar, let's just add more effects because we can. That's what happened. I put the compressor on there. That's not what I wanted to do. So definitely Dirt Shaper. This is, I mean, these are all really great, but I'm really loving Dirt Shaper, and so again, and let's put daisy delay because that's so much fun too. And the other bit I wanted to go was over to the sends on 15, which is the reverb, and choose Super Void Rums Clang. And then come back bit carried away there. I'm sorry about that. Let's record that into channel 7. So I guess what the easiest thing is because I can play this. So let's do that because we'll assign it channel 7. So let's go sample. This is set to threshold, but I just need to increase that a little bit because the Pulsar is a bit noisy, which is okay. See, it's just got a little bit of kind of kookiness going in here. And I need to choose the input A. Monitoring off. We'll just leave it at max because we'll stop it, because what I'll do is actually just kind of play a sequence and record it. So let's go arm and go. Oh, I forgot to say I've been adding, probably scared the bejesus out of you, hitting the snare drum and the hi-hat, so just getting that little bit in there. So yes, I want to save, I want to call this Pulsar, that little guy. Cool. Yes, save, assign to track. Let's go to 7. Cool. So here's track 7, set to, there's my sample. But what I want to do here is change the source to grainer. And there it is in there. I do like random mode, and I think I do like, because you can change the envelope shape of each grain. This is all okay. I'm just going to leave all that as standard at the moment. And do do some other fun stuff. Yes, please, to reverb. What should we do? Let's just jump back to here, hit record, add a trig. I want that trig to be that trig. I want the length to be as long as it can go, and that's just going to play that. Sorry, wrong pitch. There. So you see where we're going. Let's just get this to position, and yes, and nice and slow, a little bit off grid, and like that. So then we'll just change the position and then sort of get some of this end stuff as it's going. Let's try. things that's really cool is it seems like the tracks are just individually in terms of the sequencer setup. So on the Digitact and the Digitone, I seem to remember you'd have to change a pattern or change a setting here to be able to have the patterns disconnected from each other, but it seems just to be the default on here. So I was going to jump this up to a longer length. Let's do that to begin with, and then record some notes. So let's start here. And I'll do that so it's like it'll just kind of keep going because the grainer is polyphonic. And I was going to then have this idea of let's hit another note here, but pitch it up to like there and increase its length, but then drop its probability down. So it may or may not trigger 38% of the time. And let's go again. Let's go somewhere here and a low one and not go for as long and drop the probability too. And last page. Where do we want to go here? That guy, and drop the probability, maybe. Okay, that's cool. Let's have a listen. Go to track 3 and I'm gonna change this to Subtracks. Oops. And let's create a new, yes please. And then this guy I'm gonna assign a sample, and I have already recorded a snare from the Pulsar. And you'll be horrified to look at this snare. I think it's actually the hi-hat, but I called it a snare. I'm very sorry. But I have a plan. I want to drop it down. And I want to send it to the reverb. Oh, this is the thing about the Subtracks, is that they all share the same effects and the same sends. So everything that I'm doing here is going to go that way, but that's okay. So I'm happy with that. I'll probably just tweak that a little bit more. In fact, I will tweak that a little bit more. Okay, record, yes. So going to put a trig here, but on this trig, I want a low probability. So it happens sometimes. Happens sometimes. Let's have a listen. I feel like I want to go for a double every now and then. I feel like I want to go for a double every now and then. Let's just reduce that, so maybe sometimes that'll do that. And then the other thing that I wanted to do was chuck a hi-hat in, and I'm gonna do the same one. Yes. Oh, can I? Sure can. Sure can. Okay, and I'm gonna make this my hi-hat. And I have a plan. One of these things that's here that's really cool is going function transform and randomizing the velocity. So yes, please. I want to let's just mute these guys for a second and just listen to that. And the other bit that I wanted to do on this guy is, because this has got a really mod filter and envelope decay, yes. And totally just need some daisy delay on this. Thanks for coming on that journey with me. That was really fun. So that's making a kick, sampling in, playing with this little transform on the velocity of trigs, like really lots of fun, so much to explore here. The grainer is bonkers awesome. It's just everything that I could hope for in a granular, and I've been going down the granular rabbit hole for quite a while, and this is just really hands-on and fun. I think the next step for me to explore here is getting a little MIDI controller. This is great. The performance options in here are great. Being able to memorize the state, mess everything up, hit recall, that's all really fun. But I feel like just having something that could maybe mix the levels, have some filtering. So maybe it's like an 8 MIDI controller, a 16 MIDI controller, something like that, to have control over each of the tracks would be really fun to be able to play with, especially with all of the different effects options in terms of the sends, and then all of the different parameters in here. This I love the dirt shaper. The dirt shaper on the other really fun one that I was having a lot of fun playing with. I'll just change this. I think it's the saturated delay. No, that's not what it was. Degrader. No, that's not what it was. Daisy delay. There was a folder. Filter folder. Filter folder. This. Has some really beautiful overdriven tones in there. Yes to the Tonverk. Thanks for watching. Sell my soul. Like and subscribe. What have I missed? How are you using this? I've been watching everybody's videos on the Tonverk. Thank you very much for everybody that's been sharing their hints and tips with this. I did look everywhere for a Techno Rumble and maybe I didn't find it, but now there's one. Thanks. Bye.